watch this protest happen there on the streets of Chicago, where they have shut down the entrance to the Citadel hedge fund run by billionaire Ken Griffin. People are trying to get out of the building. They can't get out of the building because protesters have blocked off that entrance. I'm joined by Fox News contributor Leslie Marshall and former Republican Congressman Joe Marsh as we watch all of this. And, you know, this is clearly, Leslie, a big theme in this election. I mean, I think this frustration that Americans feel, the middle class, poor Americans, as they watch a growing gap between the haves and have-nots. This is what's playing out when we see that anger there in America, and one of the reasons why both Donald Trump has been successful and Bernie Sanders has been successful. Would you agree?
I agree with you, which is strange because Donald Trump is one of those rich people they're angry with. And it could be argued that Senator Sanders is to a certain degree. But these are two they view as Washington outsiders who they feel are going to care about the middle and lower income families who haven't had wages really increase since 1997, and who look back historically in this country at the tax credits and the subsidies of the rich not being reinvested in this country with job growth, with purchase of goods, with products of bringing jobs back from overseas and continuing to ship jobs overseas. You know, almost a year to this day, we saw protests like this in Illinois, at the Capitol in the state of Illinois, and now we're seeing this here again almost a year later in Chicago. I think we're going to continue to see protests like this and hear this message resonate all through the election.
Yeah, Joe, it's a message that has caught on for sure. But, you know, let's not forget, half the country right now pays no tax at all. The wealthy are paying the majority of taxes. I mean, when you think about it in the way of tax policy, you just wonder, isn't there a better way? I mean, can't we be allocating funds more appropriately in a better fashion so that the money government does have, government spends in a way that helps the middle class?
Trish, here's what I'm thinking right now. Look, I think Donald Trump, on paper, is going to have a difficult time beating Hillary Clinton. But we continue to see protests like this. This is only going to help Mr. Trump. I'll bet you most of the people out there have no idea what they're protesting. They're unemployed idiots. I mean, think about this, Trish. I'm in bankrupt Chicago, which is in bankrupt Illinois. Protests like this are going to get more people the heck out of this state.
Yeah, I mean, you know, maybe they don't fully understand what they're protesting.
They don't.
But they understand something's wrong right now, because they understand that in the last 20 years, Americans haven't gotten a raise. They understand that when the government tries to tell us that 5% unemployment is great and we should all be happy, that that's not true, that that's not right, because maybe they don't have a job, maybe their family members don't have a job, maybe their neighbors don't have a job. So they're pushing back on this idea that, you know, the administration is saying the economy's on the right trajectory, and they want to blame someone, right? I mean,
Trish,
part of politics is finding that person to blame, and in this case, it's the rich.
They've been told to blame someone. I truly don't believe they have any clue as to what they're really advocating. Again, I continue to say this. People leave Illinois faster than out of any other state in the country. People leave the city of Chicago faster than out of any other metropolitan area in the country. And protests like this are only going to drive more taxpayers the hell out of Chicago and Illinois.
Yeah. All right. We're gonna take a quick break. We're gonna stay on this theme here, though, because I think the economy is the #1 issue in this election, and this is the reason why outsiders are seeing success. Americans are feeling the pinch. It hurts, and they want change. Leslie, Congressman Walsh, I'm going to see you guys in a bit. Slamming Hillary Clinton as an enabler for her husband's affairs. Watch him here.
In the history of politics, Hillary Clinton's husband abused women more than any man that we know of in the history of politics. And Hillary was an enabler, and she treated these women horribly. Just remember this. And some of those women were destroyed not by him, but by the way that Hillary Clinton treated them after everything went down.
Wow, it's Donald Trump's toughest attack on Hillary Clinton yet, though for now she's keeping quiet. Well, what about voters in the general election? Will Bill Clinton's impeachment his treatment of women and Hillary Clinton's willingness to stand by him and help malign those women that he mistreated? Will that be a factor? Leslie Marshall and former Congressman Joe Walker back with me. Joe, starting with you. I mean, you know, this seems to be the issue that a lot of people didn't want to talk about. They say, oh, you know, she's great for standing by her man. I look at it as a woman and I say, you know, by standing by him, you're also having a role in the destruction of these other women. I mean, you think about Monica Lewinsky and her lot in life. No, it's true, Leslie, because as a woman, I don't know how you say that's okay for him to do what he did over and over and over again. Joe, first to you and then to Leslie.
I personally, Trish, I think it will backfire against Hillary Clinton because I think it will make Hillary appear sympathetic. Trump's numbers right now, Trish, with women are horrible.
So you think this is a bad tactic? In other words, you know, you're going to put her in the victim box, and she thrives in the victim box.
Yeah,
she looks
you know,
much more empathetic.
Yeah. It's one thing to call Ted Cruz Lion Ted to a bunch of Republicans and conservatives, but with a general election pool of voters, women again, I don't think you get personal like that. I think it's going to backfire on him. And really, look, Hillary's a very adept politician. I think she'll be able to swat this away. Trump's only path, and I listened to your interview with Governor Huckabee, Trish, Trump's only way to win is to harvest all the anger the American people feel. These personal insults, I think, are going to hurt him.
Leslie, I imagine you agree with this, with Joe.
Actually, I do. I mean, if you ask people their top 10, heck, their top 50, things that they care about as voters come November, whether they're male or female, and especially female, it is not about whether Hillary Clinton stayed with her husband. And quite frankly, if you told me this afternoon my husband cheated on me, I wouldn't believe you. And then I would stand by my man because I love him. And I think that's what a lot of women do. And quite frankly, even if she had left him, I don't think that would have changed his behavior or any man's behavior. Speaking of, Donald Trump really got to stay away from this dude.
So
this is a man who cheated
so you're saying
twice
that this is
throughout his marriages.
It's putting her into that victim spot, and that is a spot where people will sympathize with her. What about this? You know, because I don't think Donald Trump necessarily does things in a vacuum. Joe, is it possible that he wants to really unsettle her? I mean, is he trying to break her here with this? I mean, this is the one area that she might be very sensitive on, and it could cause her to do some irrational things.
Yes, but I think she's a very strong politician who is prepared for this. Trish, it's beautiful that you've got these protests in Chicago right now, because this is the election. This is Trump's only way to win. Governor Huckabee is right, Trish. The American people are pissed off, they're angry, but those are not middle-class Americans protesting there.
Yeah, there you go. You used the word that he said he promised he wouldn't, but
they're
no,
working.
I hear
Middle-class Americans are working.
Yeah, no,
they're working right now. Those are Bernie Sanders loving socialists. That's lower class folks protesting right now. The middle class is angry, but they're working right now.
Yeah, they can't afford to go out and protest.
Trump should focus on that. Exactly.
I think he will be. But it's interesting to see this line of attack happening to Hillary, and both of you seemingly believing that this is actually going to do more to help her than him. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to be back with more on these protests coming to us live from Chicago, as well as a look at the tax policy that Donald Trump is talking about enacting. That's next.